What's the motivation here? How often do you actually ask yourself this question when you're trying to eliminate a negative or bad or destructive habit from your life and do something more positive and empowering and inspiring that's actually good for you? Are you slowing down enough to figure out what's actually motivating the behavior? It's motivations that drive everything that we do. I don't mean like, oh, I feel motivated today, let's go do amazing things. I'm simply referring to the concept of something that triggers a certain behavior, that kind of motivation. So until you truly understand what actually motivates you, what actually is motivating the certain behaviors in your life that you want to end, until you know that, you can't make a change, or at least you will have a very difficult time in making the change as quickly as possible. So I want to share with you 4 very simple yet powerful steps that you can start taking today if you want to eliminate some type of negative or destructive behavior or habit from your life. And so the very first thing you have to do is slow down. What do I mean by that? What I'm suggesting is when you feel yourself moving into that destructive habit, you got to slow down. And all you have to do is remember this video and think to yourself, JJ said, slow down. Let it be a trigger. When you acknowledge and recognize that you're about to do the habit or take a certain action that you know is destructive or just not beneficial for you or anyone else, you got to slow down. You got to slow down enough so that you can do the second thing, which is ask the question, what's the motivation here? What's the motivation? You've got to slow down enough so that you can pause and ask the question. Because if you can create this pause in your actions, meaning if you can slow down enough to ask the question, what's the motivation here? Well, now you've given yourself a chance to make a change because you're no longer in the process of moving into the behavior. You've stopped so that you can cognitively think through and slow yourself down to figure out what's actually motivating you. What's motivating this behavior in you in your life? And so once you've slowed down and you've asked the question, what's motivating this? Now you got to do the work, my friend. You can't just hope that change is going to happen. You got to do the work. Anything worth accomplishing requires effort. And in fact, if there was no effort involved, then the change wouldn't last because it's effort that will wire the change into your nervous system, into your brain to know this is something that you don't want to do, and the new thing is the thing that you do want to do. Does that make sense? The point here is simple. Slow down and ingrain your nervous system with the new pattern of thinking, which is asking the question, what is motivating this behavior? And once you ask the question, when I say you got to do the work, I mean you got to sit down with pen and paper and write out what are all of the things that could be motivating that specific behavior. What are the benefits typically that you feel you're getting? And when I say benefits, I really mean payoffs, because they might not actually be beneficial to you, but your brain gets some type of payoff. So as a simple, silly example, if after dinner you're feeling full and you want to go to the fridge or the cabinet for some really unhealthy food to stuff your face with, well, there might not be a benefit, but there is a payoff. You're going to get extra sugar, and there's going to be this sugar rush to your body, and your brain's going to light up and feel good about that hit of the sugar, and your belly's going to fill up, and you're going to kind of feel satiated. So you're actually getting some type of payoff, but it's not necessarily healthy or beneficial in a positive way. And so if you're starting to move towards the fridge and you recognize, and you're like, whoa, slow down, what's motivating this? Then you can sit down right where you are, or maybe go to a table if you're not right at a table. Sit down with a pen and paper and just keep writing out what are the potential reasons that you're being motivated to make that move, to do that behavior. Because the more you can understand your motivation, the more empowered you will be to make a change. You see, until we truly become aware of all the underlying root motives and the things that are driving us to do what we do, until we understand that, we don't have the greatest potential to make the change. But once you do know those things, once you can better understand yourself and you better understand why you do what you do, what motivates you to do what you do, now you can realign your values and the motivations that you have so that you can do something different. So then you can move into the fourth piece of this, which is get new motivations. Get new motivations. So as an example, if I am the person in this example of going to the fridge or the pantry for something after dinner that's not as healthy. And I'll tell you that we don't have anything really unhealthy in our home because we eat super healthy. That's a core value of ours. So this is not an issue. But what's a real challenge that I face is overeating. Even healthy, mostly healthy foods, overeating isn't always the best thing, especially late at night. So we can use that example. Let's say I'm going to the fridge for some yogurt so I can put some almond butter in it and maybe a little syrup. So maybe that's the bad part of this, putting a little bit of maple syrup in there. And I'm like, you know what? I'm moving towards the fridge. I recognize it. So I slow down and I ask myself, what's motivating this? And then I sit down with pen and paper and I start writing out everything that could be motivating this. Maybe it's just, I guess I just feel good after getting some satiation, kind of the stuff that I already alluded to a few minutes ago in this video. Maybe it's just like I feel relaxed, like it's my time to relax. The kids have gone to sleep. We're chilling and relaxing, and this is just me hanging out. It's me having a good time. It's kind of a thing that I do so I don't get bored. Not that I ever have time to get bored because I'm always doing something, but maybe those could be some of the motivations for this behavior. And the list could go on and on and on. You can get creative and really think about what might be motivating that. But then the next thing you've got to say is, what's my new motivation? What is the motivation that can get me to stop doing the negative thing and to start doing something different or better, or just redirecting that energy? Because I've heard it said that to end one bad habit, you've got to replace it with another good, empowering habit. I don't truly find that to be what is the case in my own life. I can tell you that in this kind of example that I'm sharing, if I stop moving towards the fridge and I end that bad habit, doesn't mean now I have to go find something else to do instead of eating that yogurt or dessert later in the evening. What I can think of it as, though, is to say I'm going to take the energy that I would have had by moving in that direction, by no longer feeling dragged down because I overate and overstuffed myself. I've got more energy to show up and to make these videos that I love to make, that I'm passionate about making, because I don't make these videos until 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock in the evening once the kids are asleep. And so I've got to be able to show up with extraordinary energy and passion and enthusiasm because I want to deliver my best self on these videos for you and for anyone else that might be inspired and empowered by them. So all of that to say, I don't have to necessarily change the habit to something more positive. I can just take the energy that I now have because I didn't do the negative, destructive habit and leverage it in a different way and put it in a different direction into something later in the evening like these videos. So you've got to start asking yourself, what is motivating the behaviors that you're taking action on? And if you want to end or change those behaviors, you got to get crystal clear on what the motivations are so that you can change the motivations, decide that you want to do something else with that energy, and change your life forever. This is not about one quick change to end it for a day. This is about creating lasting, sustained change in your life with positive behaviors that allow you to thrive in your life, become the best version of yourself, and do extraordinary things and achieve your biggest dreams and goals, which I know you are destined to achieve in this world. And if you want to continue to stay fired up and inspired, I'd love to be your friend on the journey. Go watch this video next, where I will help you to stay fired up and vibrant in your life so that you can achieve extraordinary things. My friend, just keep going.